Zachary Zane is a sex expert and activist. He currently has a sex advice column at Men's Health titled Sexplain It, and a relationship column at Queer Majority titled Zach and the City. Ooh, I like that. His work has been published in the New York Times, Rolling Stone, the Washington Post, and many, many others. He is the founder and editor-in-chief of the BOYSLUT magazine, which publishes nonfiction sex stories from kinksters across the globe. He is also co-author of the sex advice book, Men's Health Best Sex Ever. And the exciting part is his memoir, Manifesto, BOYSLUT, comes out today. So definitely check that out today.
Yes, I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Fuck yes.
How long did you work on this book?
I started writing the proposal at the end of 2018.
Wow.
And then it
Like,
comes out.
y'all, that's how long books take.
I think things were a little bit slower because of COVID. I think that kind of put a wrench in things.
Yeah.
But still, it came out today, which is, May 9th, 2023. So it was like 4.5 years from kind of inception to coming to fruition, to actually having this product that you can buy in bookstores all across the globe.
That's so exciting. And, you've written so much stuff. So much.
Yes. And that was just even a fraction of kind of the places that I've written for. And actually, I have a new column at Cosmo. It's called Navigating Non-Monogamy. And specifically, it's looking at all the mistakes I've made in my ethical non-monogamous journey and what I've learned from them. And it really is delving into issues of polyamory that kind of extend beyond a 101. Because right now, like a lot of the content right now that's out is like how to deal with jealousy. And of course, that is important, but there are 10 million other issues that polyamorous people are dealing with. And even if you're not jealous or know how to navigate that, there's still a gajillion other issues, and they're just not discussed at all, really, in mainstream media. So I'm really looking at all of these various other things that polyamorous and non-monogamous people struggle with, and kind of shedding a light on all of those issues and providing hopefully some helpful advice here.
Nice. Are you in a relationship right now?
I am.
What kind of relationship?
I am so polyamorous. So I have a primary partner, I have a girlfriend, and then more casual and secondary partners of all genders.
Okay. Is this the V-shaped polyamory?
No. So right now, it's she just kind of, well, I don't want to get into her relationship dynamic. That's her to show, but it's really just the two of us, and then again, she has more casual partners, and so do I.
Okay.
And it's definitely hierarchical, as opposed to, I used to be more relationship anarchy, but now for my sanity, I definitely have more like hierarchies, just because I think it really simplifies things. It really just does simplify relationships in a way that when your relationship anarchy, which essentially means like we don't believe in any hierarchies, it can just get very confusing very quickly. And so that's why I'm implementing a hierarchy when I used to not do that.
And when you say hierarchy, you mean like having a primary partner?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This is the first.
Yeah, and it's weird because, and we've like polyamorous people have kind of shifted the language a little bit, because no one wants to be like, I'm a secondary partner, I'm a tertiary partner. No one wants to feel second or third. So like there are different ways people now kind of discuss this, where they'll say, this is my like nesting partner if you guys live together, or you'll say like, this is my anchor partner, and then everyone else are just partners. But yeah.
But do you have regular sexual partners, or it's kind of like open-ended?
I fuck all my friends. You know what I mean? So at this point, it's always tough. Like, what constitutes a partner? Like, is a friends with benefits a partner? Is someone I've had sex with once a partner? I have a friend and I see her maybe once every 2-3 months. We have like like when we see each other, it's amazing. We have this very cutesy date, and she sleeps over. We have sex. It's incredible. Then we really don't talk for 2 months. And then once in a while, we'll hit each other up. And that's kind of our relationship. And it's like, I guess that's a partner. But even once she was like almost embarrassed to introduce me. And she's like, hey, sorry, I didn't introduce you as a partner. I said you were a friend. I'm like, no, it's whatever. We're doing what we're
Anything's
doing.
fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. I'm not upset about whether you call me a friend or a partner.
Mhm.
But I think it's what is a partner to one person is different for another person. It can be confusing. But yeah, I fuck all my friends pretty much every time we hang out. So whether they are friends or partners, but I definitely do have repeated sex, and then also sex with new people because that's also fun and exciting.
Yeah, is that what BOYSLUT is about?
Oh, boy slut's about many, many things. But in short, boy slut is about how to overcome sexual shame.
Mm.
And I talk about how sexual shame is so pervasive and it's so insidious. And I grew up in this like liberal household, a very queer, affirming, sex positive household. I had gay uncles on both sides of my family, my mom's and dad's brothers. And
Mm.
still, I had so much sexual shame and so much guilt around my sexual desires and my sexual attractions.
Mm.
Um, and it shows that like even if you come from the most sex positive household, you're still going to struggle because you still exist in this sex negative society. You still pick up
Mhm.
messages from media, from your friends, from your peers, from teachers, culture. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
um so it's about how I was able to kind of overcome the sexual shame that I have and embrace all aspects of myself.
Now that we're
And
talking about that,
yeah,
I want to ask you the question of internal homophobia and like the
yeah,
shame regarding that, because I've read a couple of articles that talk about how bisexual people will experience like significant amount of shame at the beginning because they're like trying to go against the fact that they're perhaps bisexual.
it's tough. I mean, when I was coming to grips with my sexuality, which I guess I was
Yeah.
doing all of my childhood well, but like the first time I hooked up with a dude, I was 18. And it was like my second week of college, and there had been all these gay rumors about me in my entire life, but I knew I loved and dated women. But I was like, you know what? I went to college specifically 3,000 miles away from where I lived, so no one knew who I was, so I could kind of explore. And I'd get so drunk in order to hook up with him
Mhm.
because I was so anxious and so nervous. I left in the middle of him blowing me twice to go vomit.
Oh.
To go, and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Keep going. It's good." And like, it after that, I remember thinking like, maybe I'm not gay. Like, I really didn't enjoy this, but also I was so drunk. But then I
Uh-huh.
was like, well, I got hard, and so maybe I like men. But then I also am 18, and a soft breeze is enough to give me an erection at this point. So like, like I don't know if that means anything. And I spent like 5 years getting blackout and hooking up with guys. And I would
Mhm.
rationalize it quite well because I knew I loved and dated women. Like, I didn't necessarily think I was gay. And I'd be like, well, I was so drunk, it doesn't count. And it's like, well, no, it counts if you're drunk.
Mhm.
Um, but kind of alcohol was this like get out of jail free card where I could be like, I
Yeah.
was drunk, it doesn't count, even though it totally does. And it wasn't until I saw a therapist right after college where I went to him being like, hey, I'm really confused with my sexuality. Sometimes I think I'm gay, but then I'm straight and I hook up with guys and girls. And I gave this whole long monologue on our first session. And on our second session, I proceed to like give the same monologue again. And he goes, Zach, can I interrupt you? You told me you wanted me to be blunt with you, and I'd like to be blunt. I go, yeah. He goes, you seem very clearly bisexual. Is there something that I'm missing? And I go, oh, that shit doesn't exist in men. And he responded, Zach, you're too smart to think that. But 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago, when I was struggling with this, there was no bisexual visibility. And
Mhm.
so, and every guy I knew that came out as bi in college came out as gay shortly after. So
Mhm.
even though I am, egocentric and think I'm the best person in the world, I wasn't delusional. I was like, I can't be the only person, the only
Right.
guy in the world with this sexual orientation.
Oh, that's so
Uh,
interesting. So you were like, "I'm either straight or gay. Doctor, tell me." Like, "Therapist,
yeah,
tell me."
exactly. And he was like, well, you're bi. And I just didn't see it as a viable option because,
Mhm.
again, there was so little bisexual visibility. Bisexual people are significantly less likely to be out to people in their lives, to their partners, to their friends, to their coworkers. And yeah, everyone I knew who said they were bi came out as gay shortly after. So I just didn't think it was real. And then once I embraced being bisexual, and that also took some time. It wasn't like he said that and I was like, yep, all right, I'm bi, let's go. Like, I was like, okay, this is something I need to think about. And then for a while, because of kind of internalized homophobia and internalized biphobia, I thought I was bi-sexual, but heteroromantic. Essentially, what that means is I can sleep with both men and women and all other genders, but I could only date and love women. So romantically, I was only attracted to women. And while that is a valid sexual and romantic like orientation, that actually wasn't me. I was just closeted and anxious and wasn't yet ready to embrace the fact that I could actually love a man the same way I could love a woman. I know there was a lot. Sorry, and I tried to do that as quickly as possible here, but that's kind of how I got to where I was. But yeah, I had a lot of shame in college, a lot of confusion, a lot of sleepless nights where I was like this like AI robot that just got sentience, where I'm like, what am I? I was like, what the fuck? And I was so confused, and it sucked. And I really struggled with my identity for a very, very long period of time.
What is your response to people who go, "Oh, honey, you're gay, you're not bi"?
Oh God. I mean, I don't even engage them anymore. I used to feel like I used to have to prove my sexuality to them, being like, okay, look, here's all the men I've had sex with, here's all the women I've had sex with, here's all the non-binary people I've had sex with, and like pulling up a resume, which plays into their game, right? Because you can be bisexual having never had sex with a man, having never had sex with a woman. You're still straight when you're a virgin because you know what your attractions are.
Mhm.
So just because you haven't acted on it doesn't mean you're any less bisexual. So me pulling up a resume of people I fucked is actually feeding into something that I shouldn't even be feeding into. Um, so I used to get very defensive, and when you get defensive about something, people that doesn't change anyone else's mind.
Nope.
But when people say that to me, I go, okay, thank you.
End
And
of
what the fuck?
conversation.
Oh, and they get so uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
often they backpedal. They're like it's showing them that I don't need to justify my existence. I don't need to prove my identity, and I don't give a fuck about what you think. I'm still bisexual, whether you believe it or not. You can fucking stick your head in the sand, and the world still exists around you. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
so
You just
it,
demonstrated like the high sexual self-esteem. Like that was an example.
yeah, it's like I don't fucking need your validation. And ironically, me not engaging in a debate is more likely to change their mind than me going like a step by step of why what they're thinking is wrong, which is what I used to do. But now it's like I got shit to do. I got people to fuck. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I don't need your approval, and I
On
really
the
don't care to have this conversation.
on the note of I got people to fuck, I'm curious. Are you different sexually when you are with men versus women?
Yeah, I think
Ooh,
I
tell us
am.
more.
And again, it really depends on, often it is, their vibe. There are women who are very dominant, and these women often end up pegging me. And that's kind of the type of sex that we have. And
Mhm.
there are men who are very submissive. So I don't want to be like, oh, women are submissive, men are dominant. That's not what the case is. And of course, regardless of your sex or gender, you can be anything in the bedroom. But there are differences, in terms of it. Obviously, there are just the physical mechanics
Mhm.
um of me hooking up with someone who is my height, who is 6'4", who has a penis, who's railing me, is very
Uh-huh.
different than me hooking up with someone who is 5'5",
Uh-huh.
um who has a vagina, who I'm having sex with. So just the
Mhm.
physicality is different. um Queer and gay men, at least in New York City, often do not wear condoms, like at all,
Mm.
because we have PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, meaning that we're not going to get HIV. It's a
Mhm.
daily medication you take to not get HIV. And then we have, a lot of us are more comfortable with taking higher risk sexually. So even though it doesn't prevent against gonorrhea or chlamydia, we have unprotected sex. If we get gonorrhea or chlamydia, we get tested, we get treated, we tell our partners, and that's it. Versus most women I'm with, of course, want you to wear condoms. So I wear condoms with most women. So
Mhm.
that's kind of a difference. Um,
So like with your girlfriend, you have like vaginal sex, anal sex, but
yeah,
she picks you too. So
yes. She hasn't
kind
pegged
of
me just
everything's on
yet.
the menu.
Everything is on the menu, and the way we the way we navigate our like STI risk is something we're both comfortable with is essentially I get tested once every month, 6 weeks anyway, just because you got
Have a
to do
lot
what
of
you got to
sex.
do here. Yeah. And what we do is kind of the first, 2 to 3 weeks after I get tested, it comes back negative. That's when we have unprotected sex.
Mhm.
If I end up going to a gay orgy or something, or I have unprotected sex with someone else, I let her know, and then we just wear condoms until the next time I get tested. But at least we have, 2, 3 weeks of raw dogging, which is extremely fun for both of us. But it's a way that she feels comfortable with her
Mhm.
risks. I feel comfortable with my risks. Um, Also, I feel like the difference is with gay men have a lot more anonymous sex. It's one of those
Mm.
things where, like, because I use like hookup apps like Grinder and
Mhm.
Sniffies, and I can have a guy over into my apartment naked blowing me within 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they just come in, and it's a lot like kinkier stuff we'll do where they'll be like, hey, I'm blindfolded, my head's over the bed, the door's unlocked, come in, throat fuck me, and then just leave.
Wow.
And because again, they're not the same safety concerns.
Right.
Obviously, with a man and a woman would not do that to a complete stranger.
Mhm.
Or most women, some women I'm sure do, but like, there's an element of safety
Right. Yeah.
that happens when it's a man and a woman. And even though there's still obviously safety issues among gay, queer, bisexual men, we still take those risks. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot more of just like uh, cruise, fucking someone in a public place, fucking someone in a
Mhm.
park, someone coming over, doing just like quickie hookups, that just wouldn't happen kind of the same way when I have sex with, meeting and having sex with women.
So a little bit ago, you said orgy. I'm wondering, what was your first orgy like?
I was so I've had a few interesting experiences with orgies. So I remember there was one that I had like two experiences, but one was like going to this gay orgy with my boyfriend at the time, and I actually ended up leaving. I felt so uncomfortable,
Oh.
which is so funny considering where I fucking am now. And now, like, I
Yeah,
love this
writing this
shit.
book.
But it also shows that I was not prepared for like a
Mhm.
gay sex space where, like, often in those spaces, it's not enthusiastic consent based. It's not like,
Mhm.
hey, can I touch you? It's more if you don't like something, you tell them no. So it's more of an opt
Mm.
out consent space. And I was just not used to a bunch of guys kind of touching me and grabbing me from all sides. And I was like, I feel uncomfortable and overwhelmed. I'm going to leave. And now I fucking love guys touching me from
Now
all
you
sides.
organize one.
Yeah, now I organize it. I love it, but I think I just went in with the wrong expectations.
Mm.
And if I'd known that this was the space, I could have gotten in that mindset, but I wasn't prepared. Um, but another,
Is
so that was
that
one of
the
my,
difference between, like, let's say a gay orgy versus like a co-ed sex party?
the thing is, I don't want to like perpetuate stereotypes.
Right.
There are some gay sex spaces that more are utilize more enthusiastic consent the
Right.
same way, but and there are but I think there are just generally differences. I think that might be a big
Yeah.
difference, especially now with co-ed. They really are, of course, like ask before you touch, ask before I
Right.
can kiss
Yeah.
you, versus in a gay sex space, if you're a guy on a sex sling blindfolded up there taking loads, you don't want someone to be like, hey, can I go and stick my penis in your butt? The whole point you went in the space was for anonymous men to fuck you. So
Yeah.
like, so it's understand and one the issue neither is superior. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? I think
Right.
there's more up
Like, it
for
can all be fun and exciting for
it.
any person
It
participating.
I think it just needs to be very clear what the culture of consent is to attendees so they know what to expect.
Mhm.
I think is very important. Yeah.
You've been to the hacienda party, right?
Oh, I fucking love Hacienda. Yeah, I'm there a bunch.
Are they usually co-ed?
Yeah, I think they're always
Like everybody.
co-ed. Maybe they have ones that, to my knowledge, I think they've all been co-ed. There have been certain parties that center trans or non-binary people. I threw a party there called Bi-slut, and that was specifically for bisexual men and their admirers. And the reason why I
Uh-huh.
did that was because so many like quote unquote queer sex parties were not. It's
Mm.
like either it's like a gay sex party that's just all men, but that's obviously not inclusive of women. And then when they would say queer sex party, it meant like women hooked up with women and women hooked up with men, but the other men still weren't hooking up with guys. And I
Mm.
wanted a place that was actually just like men hooking up with other men hooking up with women, guys getting pegged, guys getting fisted, getting DP'd by a strap-on and a dick, and like the most actual queer configurations you can possibly imagine. And let me tell you, I fucking succeeded. I absolutely succeeded. And actually, the last chapter of my book is Bi-slut. I'm talking about that party in detail.
Oh yeah, y'all gotta get this book to read that last chapter particularly. It
Oh,
sounds
it
hot.
is raunchy as fuck. This entire, I mean, you could probably tell by the way that I speak. Like, this is not your average
No.
little gay memoir here. I can promise you that much. It's definitely raunchy or more explicit, more graphic, and
Uh-huh.
potentially more fun, I think.
Have you ever taken the assessment on sociosexuality tendency and like sensation seeking tendency?
It was right. Is that the one that gives you kind of the top 10? Like, are you Dom, sub, you're
The
bratty,
sociosexuality is
or no?
your tendency to enjoy more or less like casual sex. I wonder where
Oh,
you would score from 1 to 10. You're probably 11.
yeah. I love casual sex. I absolutely do. And I'm trying to make sure I love partnered and romantic sex too. Obviously, I think
Yeah.
that's more emotional and intimate and can be potentially harder.
Yeah.
Um,
With your
and
girlfriend, do you feel like having sex with her is different than a casual hookup?
it's, yeah, no, I think of course it is. I just feel more comfortable with her. And I think there is more emotions involved in that.
Mhm.
And that's exciting and powerful and scary at times too. You know what I mean? And it's something I always used to think I was more like, as someone, I always thought like I just loved casual sex and I was really struggling to like have more
Mm.
like emotional sex with my partners. And there's actually kind of a sexual orientation about this that I discuss in the book. So,
Mm.
and it's called phrasexuality, but which it's better to define it while to define demisexual, which people are more aware of. But demisexual is the sexual orientation where you don't develop kind of a sexual attraction until you have an emotional connection with someone. So
Mhm.
these people do not like anonymous sex, and they really need to have a heart to heart conversation before they experience kind of physical attraction. And then there's kind of phrase sexuals who are on the opposite side of that spectrum, which are actually they prefer to have casual and anonymous sex. And as they get to know someone and really develop an emotional connection with them, that sex drive kind of goes away.
Mhm.
And that's honestly pretty common just because often the newness and the excitement is
Mhm.
what makes sex so fun.
Mhm.
And so for a while, I thought I was really like the strict phrasexual person. I kind of write about this in the book. And even from the book, I've kind of changed a little bit and being like, well, actually, I think I might be struggling a little bit with intimate
Mm.
and romantic sex. So I want to be more open to that in a way that I haven't been before instead of relying on the sexual orientation.
Love that.
Um,
A little bit of vulnerable Zach.
yeah, try to be a little bit more vulnerable and everything. And it was so funny. I remember like reading the book now and being like, I'm not sure if I 100% agree with this assessment that I wrote however many years ago by the time it comes out. And I'm like, I wrote this book when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. Like, I'm allowed to change and grow since then. Like, it doesn't mean like, oh, I wrote this book and therefore I can never change and grow. I have everything figured out and this is who I am. Um, but there are certain things that, I'm going to change and grow and my perspectives will change. And still, what I wrote about phrase sexuality in the book is still 100% valid. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
still very helpful for many people.
Yeah.
But
I've met many people like that.
yeah,
I didn't know that term, but I've met
hmm
many people like that who prefer
yeah,
only casual sex and is not necessarily in like any type of exclusive relationship, romantic
yeah,
relationship. So it's cool to have this term to explain their experiences.
yeah.
Uh Back to orgies.
Please,
So you're a frequent participant of orgies and sex parties. Now, I have to ask for my listeners and followers because they're always really curious. Um,
please.
their number one question, especially if they're like younger, meaning like they're in early 20s, they're like, where do I find one?
Um, it's good question. You know what I mean? It depends on where you live. I think is honestly a big aspect of it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like if you're in like rural town in Alabama, there isn't probably a sex party, or maybe there is, but a different kind.
it's a different kind, and they might be just a little bit more hush hush about it, as opposed to in New York, everyone and their mother goes to a sex party. So you're not necessarily lying about where you were versus rural Alabama. You might have to lie a little bit. I think what's a good thing to check out is FetLife.
Hmm.
Which is it's specifically like a social network for like kinksters, but also they have munches is what they call, which is kind of like group meetups that are not sexual, but that's a way to kind of meet other people in the community. And these people will be aware of where sex parties are happening and are often throwing the sex parties themselves. I will say you can also use Field. Again, that's a polyamorous dating app, but a lot of the people there are like doing orgies and sex parties as well.
Hmm.
And once you meet like one or two people in the scene, then you're in the scene. All of a sudden you have access to 10 billion parties. Like it almost goes from zero, it goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. And
Mm.
like, cause it is a small community and you'll start knowing everyone. And if someone likes you, like, oh, check out this event, they'll be talking about 50 more events that happen. But I think FetLife is a good place to start. And again, Field. So then you just start talking to other people in the scene who can then point you in the right direction here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, my last question is out of my curiosity. Do you sleep with men and women in equal ratio?
So I feel like it's really gone through waves. And at points in my life, I've been sleeping with more women. At points in my life, I've been sleeping with more men. Points I'm sleeping with more non-binary and trans people. Um, yeah, like right now, uh, I think I'm sleeping with more women than men, which is actually kind of rare for me, but I think it's just kind of what's
Just
been
a phase
happening.
of life.
It's a phase of life. I've also go to a lot more bisexual or queer sex parties, and at those
Mhm,
parties, as I kind of mentioned, it's often women hooking up with men as opposed
mhm,
to men hooking up with men. So I'm just in more spaces right now where I'm meeting people out who are women as opposed to actual men who would queer men who'd want to sleep with me. So I think just because I tend to meet people while out and I'm in more spaces that just have more women than gay men, I just find myself sleeping with more women. But still,
okay.
I'm sleeping with plenty of dudes too. Let's not let's. It's literally everyone all
Equal
the time.
opportunity.
Equal opportunity, but yeah, I think it just changes depending on what point of life you're at.
Mm. Well, before we move to my last segment, this is like another question that just popped into my head. Have you ever thought about your like ideal situation in the future?
Yeah, I have. And you know what one thing I kind of struggle with is I think for my queer identity, it's really important for me for my primary partner eventually to be a man. I
Mhm.
think I don't like I want to be able to go to gay spaces. And when I go to gay spaces with my girlfriend now, we get side eye from people because they think we're this annoying straight couple who's going to a gay bar and making out with them or making out and kind of flaunting our straightness. When I'm like, no, I've fucked more dudes than any guy in this club, and she's fucked more women than any lesbian in this club. Um, but I don't like being perceived as straight. And when the world is kind of divided into gay and straight, which is the truth of the reality, like that's the reality of the situation, I prefer to be part of the gay world than the straight one. And my girlfriend now knows this. And like, I kind of, when we started dating, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be my forever relationship. Like, I don't think you're ever going to be my wife. Is this something you're comfortable with knowing that this is going to have an ending point? And she's more poly as well. And she just goes, no, Zach, I want you to be happy. And
Mhm.
that's what's important to me. Either it's with me or not with me, that's okay. And, if you find a guy that you really fall in love with, like, please don't kick me to the curb. You know what I mean? Like, I still want to be
Yeah.
in your life as a friend and a lover. But now that I know that this is the case, that's okay. And I'm just going to make sure to really enjoy the time we have together,
Mhm.
knowing that our relationship is likely to change at some point. And it was a very healthy conversation that
That
we
is
had, actually.
very healthy. You
Yeah.
know what I've observed on and on and on again, like many, many couples, many times, is that poly people tend to just have this like empathy and communication skills that a lot of non-poly people perhaps don't take the time to develop.
don't take the time to develop. And of course, there are plenty of poly people that still suck at communicating, and they're monogamous people who are great. But I've also noticed that poly people often, what am I trying to say?
Like it's almost like being being empathetic is a part of
It,
being in a polyamorous relationship.
being empathetic, knowing, not taking things as personally, I think is something that sometimes poly people are better at. Where I've definitely had people who, um, just like any type of like conversation we have almost seems to blow up into a fight very quickly because they felt like it was an attack on them. Even though, trust you, I'm a sex columnist. I know how to use I feel language and to express something in a way that is not attacking, that's not guilt inducing or shaming. And even when I use kind of the perfect language and really be like, hey, nothing's wrong in the relationship, I love you, everything's good. One thing I've just been struggling with, or one thing that would be really helpful for me if you were able to do this, would be XYZ. And even when I say it like that, like still just shit fucking implodes in a way where I'm like, why? No, like, why is this conversation? No, like this shouldn't be this. Why is this conversation happening the way it is? Fuck, like this really doesn't need to be that. But I just feel like I'm allowed to be more honest with poly people. And I'm like, which is a really great feeling. And I should be able to feel that honest with monogamous people. But when I am, it's just kind of sometimes led to these like blowouts where I'm like, what? No, like, come on.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not really interacting with any monogamous people anymore.
Right.
And I never will again. And that could just have been from the fact that I haven't been monogamous since I was 22. You know what I mean? So that could just be the fact that I didn't have skills yet. And neither did, you know, my partner.
So it's like almost 10 years, right? That you've been ethical non-monogamy.
A little bit less time, right? So I had my girlfriend at 23, and then at 20, I was 22 to 23. And then I think around 23, 24 is when I met my boyfriend. And then he had a wife and a girlfriend that he lived with. All three of them lived together. And he also had a boyfriend. And then through them, and then I ended up taking the place of the girlfriend. So it was me living with my boyfriend, my boyfriend's wife, and then my boyfriend's wife's girlfriend. She had a different partner. And I have 2 chapters about that in my book, BOYSLUT, a memoir and manifesto, out right fucking now. Everything has to come back to it.
Today.
Out today.
Okay. I think I have last question.
Yeah.
What is your advice for people who are bi-curious?
You know, it might be ironic considering how much I said identifying as bisexual has helped me, but I really wish that when I first was exploring my sexuality, I realized that you can do things without a label attached to it. And here's kind of what I mean. I think I was so focused when I hooked up with guys, being like, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I bi? That I wasn't able to kind of be present in the moment and actually just enjoy it. I was so in my head. So I will say, if you are bi-curious, that if you hook up, let's say you're a man who I'm talking to right now, if you hook up with another dude, decide you don't like it and it's not for you, that doesn't make you any less straight. You're still the exact same person. If you decide you do like it, or you're not sure, or find yourself drawn to keep doing it again and again, well then, you know, it's something that's definitely worth exploring and getting into. But I think just engaging in hookups and fun activities and behaviors without feeling compelled to label yourself can allow you to kind of explore more freely. And then when you're ready, if you decide a label fits you, you can then go with that label.
Love that. Thank you. Okay, so the last segment of this show is called 5 Quickies with Dr. Tara. I'm going to give you a word and you just give me your first response.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, orgies.
Fun.
Number 2, squirting.
Fun. I won't do fun for all of them. Sorry, I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
It's required that you use a different word.
Yeah. So okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. Moving forward. I'm ready now.
Okay. Number 3, pegging. Fun.
Heavenly. Heavenly. No, I'm using other words now. Joyous.
Wow. Heavenly.
You really do I feel like I transcend the human plane when I get pegged. I feel like it is a spiritual experience at times. Truly heavenly.
Okay, I know this is a quickie, but I gotta ask this question because I have a
Yes.
lot of followers asking me. What's
Mhm.
your advice for straight men who's like on the fence?
I mean, do it again. And I think it's also reminding yourself that like pegging does not make you any less straight. I think there's
Uh-huh.
this idea that if you enjoy pegging, oh, you're secretly bisexual, you're secretly gay. That's not, if you enjoy getting fucked by a man with a dick, that's gay. That's bisexual. If it's a woman with a strap on, no, it's not. And it just feels so good, right? This is a
Mhm.
matter of anatomy. It's a matter of science. You have the prostate inside of you, and you experience these like full body orgasms. You think it feels good when you just come just from stroking your dick. When you
Wow.
fucking come with something in your ass, it's 50 times better. And I have a chapter in my book called "Don't Be Gay, Just Shove It Up Your Ass," and it's
Yes.
actually all about specifically pegging, and I really address this kind of concern that a lot of straight men have about it being gay or bi, and I really break that down in an entire chapter. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely worth checking out.
Wow, that was such a great idea real moment. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, like
happening. Yeah,
please.
because it has a little bit of pegging, a little bit of book promotion. It's great.
Yeah, we love it.
Okay, number 4. We're serious now. Number
Okay.
4, alpha males.
Douchebags. Not
Okay,
all of them, but some of them.
I do want to ask this question. Fuck, I'm not being very good with quickies. I do have a question about that. There's like a group of people who I know who say like the word alpha, like male, just means an assertive man who, rests comfortably in his masculinity. How come it became this like negative thing?
Well, uh, I
Like,
think it was
why is it
because
wrong to be alpha?
um well, I think it's just because the men that have identified as alpha have not just been secure in their sexuality. They're often misogynistic and sexist in the way that they're pertaining it. It's not that like they're actually confident about who they are. They're actually extremely not confident about who they are. And so they're projecting their insecurities in this form of aggression and confidence that isn't even valid. But the
Mm.
reason why it kind of received a negative connotation was because again the men who identified as such were not treating women well. We're not treating men well. They were just not treating anyone well. They were very selfish and not great people. So I think there's nothing wrong with being confident, with being sexually assertive, with being dominant. But if you do it in a way that's not being considerate of your partners, of the women in your life, or you're doing it in a way that really dismisses other men because they're beta and I'm so much better than they are, that's not legitimate big dick energy. That's
Mhm.
legitimately small dick energy. You know what I mean? Like, so again, there's nothing wrong inherently with it, but I think it's just a lot of these guys, I disagree with them in a lot of their behaviors. And I don't think it actually is just pure sexual confidence. I actually, ironically, think it's a lot of sexual insecurity.
Just be a good human, period.
Simple. It's right. It costs you nothing to be nice. You can do that.
Okay, number 5, polyamory.
Oh, I was gonna say challenging. I guess maybe I'm struggling. Oh, that was the thing that came to it. It's worth it in the end. But I think polyamory can be challenging. It's
Mhm.
funny that was the first thing that came to my mind, though. It requires a lot of communication, a lot of hard talks, a lot of navigating jealousy and time management. Um, and I absolutely think that it's worth it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would not be doing it if I didn't think it was worth it. But I think it's something that can be challenging.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
This was so much fun. And my Luvbites fam, definitely like, share this episode. It will also be on YouTube. So definitely comment, like, subscribe on YouTube as well. And Zach, your book is out today.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely go get the book. You want to show your book?
Yes, of course. Here it is. Look, it's so beautiful. It shimmers, she glistens. But yeah, it's available anywhere books are sold, anywhere online. Um, you can follow me at, Zachary Zane _. That's Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And then also my website, zacharyzane.com. And yeah, I hope you guys love and enjoy the book here.
Oh, yes, they will. And Luvbites fam, I love you. Thanks for listening and have an orgasmic day.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites. Love Bites. By Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.